Hi guys, good afternoon. We are students from PES University. We're here to interview Architect Ruthvik from Architecture Saga. Good afternoon, Architect Ruthvik.
Hi, good afternoon.
First of all, thank you so much for accommodating us into your day, and I know you're very busy.
Oh, no, that's fine.
So, can you start off by just telling us a little bit about yourself and your journey and experience in architecture?
So, the journey, I didn't know about architecture until when I was in 11th grade, I think. I didn't know this course existed at all. So, then when things started getting serious, like what to take as the career option for the future, while talking to my mom, then she gave an idea of this thing. There's this field called architecture. And also, one advantage what I had taking up architecture was since I'm from Chikmagalur, so she thought like I can manage the estate over there and also practice architecture. And for architecture, you can be wherever you want. You need not be in office or set up a place permanently somewhere. You can also travel and do that was an advantage. Also having your own office, so the travel, work from home, it's much more flexible. So then I liked a lot of craft and art and all of that. So when I was in school, we used to have something called wall magazine. It was a competition, inter-house competition and all of that. So I used to actively participate in that. And then from there, I started following like few architecture firms and some works. And also I used to visit a lot of under construction buildings with my parents during my school days and all of that. So I started getting interest in this field, and then yeah, I ended up taking architecture. And yeah, it was a good 5 years course, and then came to Bangalore for the architecture. So I was always in the tier two cities doing my schooling and all of that. So when I came to Bangalore, it was too the busy life of it. So I wanted to again go back and experience that little slow life. So I did my internship in Calicut in Kerala. So that was the best time of my life actually. 1 year complete internship. So it not only about studying, right? So people you interact, and there it was the daily routine what I had there was, so in the morning I used to wake up early in the morning and then go to the beach. I used to cycle. Then there in the beach we used to play football. Then would directly cycle back to office, take shower, and then sit and start working at office. So that was like one of the best time that I could get there. But tried doing that in Bangalore, but it was not possible. You can't do it. You can't go anywhere cycling. So it's a different thing. And then finished my internship there in Kerala, came to Bangalore, worked here for 2.5, 3 years with a firm called Techno Architecture. It's in Baswangidi. So before starting on my own, I knew that I wanted more of experience and also get to know how the market works here. And because it's completely new for me, like from college to your professional life, it's completely different. What you learn in college is not at all applicable in your professional life. So wanted to work under someone for about 2, 3 years, then get an idea and also interact with a lot of vendors, contractors. Those are important for you before you start. You need to have all this homework done, right? So I worked for like 3 years. Then even when I was working in my previous office itself, I started getting a couple of projects, which was good thing for me to just kickstart once those couple of projects were completed. Then the inquiry started increasing. And in fact, both the projects that I did when I was working under someone else, both got featured in a couple of magazines and all of that. So it was much easier for me to kickstart from that. And through reference, contacts, family, friends, started getting more projects. So I just left and started on my own in 2022.
So, 3 years after you graduated.
Yeah, 4 years after. So after my course, so took a break, which was much needed, about 9 months, I think. Just took a break. So I was at home, then traveled Europe, came back, and then started working in another firm. So that break is good always you need after that college.
How do you define your design philosophy? What are some values that you consider non negotiable?
Okay. So if you look at our projects, each project, there's no one style which we follow in all the projects. It depends on the client first, and context plays a major role in the projects. So when I say context, it can be the site condition or the site location, and then the client needs. So it's all the context and concept driven that we do. Almost all, we do various styles of projects. It's not just modern, it's not just traditional, it's not just tropical. So what the client and what the project demands, we go to the site, we ask ourselves what that site actually needs, what style would be the best for that site, and also looking at the trends and the timeline, time frame, and all of that we create. So there's no one concept that we follow.
You mentioned that your time in your internship was the best time of your life. How would you define your life as a person has changed during college, during your internship, while work, and as the owner of a firm?
Owner of a firm, you have a lot of responsibilities. There is no weekends, nothing. So every day you will have to have. It's not just about work. Like there are other things apart from work that you'll have to keep in your head, right? So you have a lot of responsibilities. So you don't have that much of a free time. Again, back in college, when you finish your classes, then you have submissions. You know the life of architects. So you have submissions. So Monday morning you have AD, Sundays like you have to sit and work. So it's a lot of work and you don't get that much of free time. When you're an intern, there are some firms where you work like until 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in midnight and all of that. So I wouldn't enjoy that, nor I would make my employees do that to work late hours and all. You need to balance. Like the place where I did my internship, that was there's a lot of work life and personal family life balance that was there. So that was the main thing where I could enjoy the course and the practice. So those are
So you started early. So what were the challenges you faced while setting up a firm?
one thing is looking at me, like few clients, like unknown clients, when they come approach for the first time, looking at me, they'll think, what can this kid do? They'll be like, oh, is, and also by the looks, I look much younger, so they'll be like, oh, can he do it? So that is one. And I was one way lucky enough to get my own cousins and do my own house in Bangalore, and also my cousin's project and all of that in the beginning. So that way I was lucky to get few projects and show the talent, and then get a couple of other projects and all of that. But the challenges, yeah, being, see, when you start early, one is like you need to have like a lot of contacts to get projects and all of that. So in the initially, I didn't start off an office. So I used to work from home almost for 6, 7 months. I was just working from home. So any meetings or anything, I used to go to the clubhouse. We had a business lodge in the apartment. So I used to get the clients there and do all of that. So it takes time. You can't without the quantum of projects in your hand, you can't directly start an office or firm or something. So gradually, once you are confident, you have certain number of projects, then you can eventually start your own office and all. So, but main challenge like that in order to like getting projects, I haven't faced like that. I was lucky to get my own like cousins and my own house and all of that in the beginning.
What would you say are some of the advantages of starting early, like compared to your peers?
Starting early, is it? See, some of them will start late, but they'll reach the same level as you reach even when you're starting little early, little later on. So one of the main advantage that you get starting early is you get to meet a lot of clients, and through clients, the contacts, you can build the base very soon. So right now, the projects that we are doing, like most of it are through references. So one project I finished, like one apartment for the Bob's Bar, Big Brewski owner's house we did. Then immediately after that, they trusted and they gave us the Bob's Bar community that we did. We finished. And once we finished that, we are working on another outlet, a new outlet that they're coming up with. It's called Jolly Guns in now Elanka on Galleria Mall. We are working on that. And another Bob's Bar in Bell Road we are doing. So you start to build the contact very soon. And a lot of clients also look for young architects because they bring in fresh ideas and all of that. So once you go past that young architect or whatever that label, right, then they'll start thinking that you're again another architect or whatever. So one advantage is starting earlier is like they approach you being an young architect and coming up with new fresh ideas. That's also an advantage anyway. And you get your own free time. So when you're working under someone else, you have a lot of you have to go to office 6 days a week and all of that. Here also, I try coming to office or go to site or whatever, but it's more flexible. The routine, the schedule is more flexible for you. So that's another advantage.
Were there any architects or mentors you had early in your career that really helped shape how you thought about your design process?
Yeah, few in my college, they kind of helped a lot. And then my internship, architect, architect Vijay Shahjal. So I learned a lot from him, not just the architecture, but even the way you need to lead your life. It's not just work always. You need to travel, explore, see the world. So that he travels a lot. So from him, I learned about that. And also one of my close cousin, who is an architect, my uncle. So initially when I had a lot of doubts, since I started young, I didn't have mentor here in Bangalore whom I could go reach out anytime if I had any doubt or anything. So it's always good to have someone in your family or a friend or someone whom you can reach out anytime when you have a lot of doubts initially, right? To get that experience, exposure and all.
Could you share a challenging project that pushed your creative boundaries or taught you something valuable?
So that would be my own apartment, what I did here in Bangalore. So that was the first interior project that I was working on. So, and also in this, I was the contractor, I was the architect, everything. Since it was mine, I wanted to experience how the contracting thing works also. So when you know how the contracting thing works, then it's easier for you to design and explain in the future projects and all of that. That was one of the most challenging project, I would say. And I was just 26, 27, just graduated from college and worked for a couple of years in the previous firm where I did most of architecture projects. So the interior was something new and some new project for me, and I didn't know the market that well also in terms of interiors. So I had to go explore the market. When I was working with another firm, also make time for that. So it was like I used to work there till 6 o'clock. Six, I used to come back from Baswangudi to Hebbal, which would take 1.5, 2 hours sometimes based on the traffic. Then I used to go see the work and go back to the house where I was living that time in Cunningham Road. So it was like an hectic 6 months of life, but it was worth finally when everything came to it. And apart from that, we do a lot of projects in outskirts also, remote areas and all of that. So again, the site visits, and you don't get good skilled labors like what you get in Bangalore. It's more easier here, and you're close by, so anytime you can go visit. So there to explain them how it has to be done. And yet, after all the struggles, like traveling 6, 7 hours for site visit, then again coming back and all of that, the output, what you see at the end, right? And then the people who come see the project and give their valuable feedback, that's a good thing to hear always.
Can you talk a little bit about the business side of architecture? Because a lot of people are intimidated by that side, especially.
Yes.
Because, maybe they're masters of design, but when it comes to business, they get a bit intimidated, and that's why they're scared to start.
Yes. I'm also very bad at it. I'm not a great person in business. An will be the best person, I think, in that. No, but still, that is very important in architecture. Everyone goes by, oh, we have to do what is in our passion, design that, design this. Don't worry about money. What comes will come later whenever it has to come. All of that. Everyone tells that. Right? So that is, see, that is there. Design and all of that, you need to concentrate on that. But even business is very important. Without business, you can't run an office. You can't have your life also, right? Without the money coming in. So that's very important. So again, that for me, I didn't have anyone to teach me about the business part. So it was just gradually learning about it. So managing your finances and also charging the clients on based on, you need to understand the market rate once. So and also since I'm starting, I can't charge what the premium architects, the bigger well-known architects from long term are practicing. So you need to understand where you can start from, and also you should be aware that you can't underquote a lot to just getting that project. What happens once you get that project, you will deliver that project. The next project, what you do, you'll be in stagnant to that price itself, because the through reference you might get, then they might go say that you have done for so much or whatever. So again, it depends some project to project, looking at the clients, you might have to charge, but we are doing somewhere around 300 rupees per square feet now. And to run an office, have staff and all of that, it's very important to know how much you're charging, where you're saving. And also, see, last year, there was some losses that we incurred because of excess rains. So we are doing about 5 projects in Chikmagalur. Almost 6-7 months, there was no work at site at all because of the rains. So when work is not happening, so you're not getting the consultation fee, because you'll be learning in professional practice, like at what stage, what payment you'll be charging and all of that, right? So during construction stage also, there is some amount of slabs that you'll be charging. So that payment is not coming, then the number of projects, you would have considered like 2 years you'll finish a project. So for that, you would have calculated. But sometimes that 7 months becomes 2 years, 6 months. You need to finish that project. So 6 months is extra, right? So you'll have to calculate all of that priorly and then quote accordingly.
What do you think are some biggest misconceptions about architecture or architects in general?
Misconceptions like what the people outside think.
Some reasons. What do you think there?
One main thing is it's just drawing straight lines using scale. Some drawing they'll do and give it to us. Then the building will come. Why do you have to charge that much? See, that comes to, and mostly in the tier 2 cities and all of that. In Bangalore, there are that kind of crowd, which we usually don't encourage those kind of. So for them, it's like, I'll pay you some 5-10,000, give me a plan. So I'll get it done by my contractor. Why do I need you to architect? Why do I need an architect to design that? Some will be like, I'll see on Pinterest, I'll see on YouTube some plan. I'll get it done. Why do I need an architect? But the importance of an architect, you'll know when architect has done his house. Only then he'll realize why he wanted an architect rather than seeing something from Pinterest or Google and getting it done. We get those kind of inquiries also we have got, but we'll not encourage that. So we just leave that.
You mentioned that the kind of work in interior design and the kind of work in architecture is very different from each other. So can you tell us about some pros and cons in each field? Like if an architect wants to pursue interior design versus pursuing architecture, what are some challenges and benefits to each of them?
What I would recommend is architects. See, since we are all architects, you'll be an architect tomorrow. It's better to do architecture and interiors rather than focusing on just interiors. Okay. So if you are from an interior background, of course, you'll have to do interiors. So the main difference between architecture and interiors will be in interiors, there are a lot of materials. Every day there's a lot of material coming into the market. You need to be graded, almost updated. Every other day you need to be updated about the material that is coming. The clients will come and tell you sometimes, I saw this material somewhere. You will not even be aware of that material has come because they'll be roaming around everywhere for something. They would have seen some family friends house roaming is there. They'll go there. They'll see one material. They'll come and show. So you need to be updated. You should know about materials main thing in interior design. If you know the materials, you know the property of material, where it can be used, how it can be used, then you can create a nice creative design. It depends on you how you want to create. Then coming to architecture, it's morely about the spatial planning of you need to do and see the material there also is important, but mostly the planning point of view of point of it, the spatial planning and all of that. That's the main thing in architecture. Also, there are like materials like today, a lot of firms are exploring on recycling materials to be used and then sustainable approach. So again, what is locally available, you need to understand where we are doing a project where we are using completely local stones. So there are like quarries where we are like you getting all the stones from that quarry. Entire wall, everything is made in stone. There's no brick, there's no cement blocks that we are using, nothing, because the stone is easily available there. Same if I want to do that in Bangalore, the cost is more, right? So it doesn't work out for you. So you need to understand the context. That's why when you ask design philosophy, the first question was, it completely depends on the site context, site location. You need to understand what sits best in that site.
How did you decide on where exactly you wanted to start your firm? Depending on the locality, which place? Did you want to move out of Bangalore? Do you want to start the firm somewhere else?
So one why I started in Bangalore is the market is really good in Bangalore. So it's developing, it's growing, and then the clientele what you get is also good in Bangalore. And see, I had an option either Bangalore or another option would be Chikmagalur, because otherwise another city would have been alien to me. I don't know the city, I don't know people there. So these are the two places that I could start from.
But do you think sometimes when you start in a place where you know the people, you have to undercharge because you know them? Say,
No.
if you start in a place where you don't know anyone, you have your own, your own. Yeah.
But again, for you to get the contact to build that network, it's difficult for you. You are completely in a new town. So someone has to approach you and come. They don't know who you are. How will they trust a new person? You don't have anything. You haven't worked anywhere. But your people. You have that networking already, right? So again, you need not undercode. So you charge what you're charging. If they're not able to afford, then it's okay. Then another client will come. So they'll go looking for someone else. There's always this challenge. It's always there. But you need not undercode. And also not just that, you need to look at other things also, which apart from professional life, also the personal life and all of that. Completely moving to another city, you don't know anyone there, you feel left out, you feel out of place. Right? So that's why Bangalore was the main choice. And also operating from Bangalore, my hometown being 4 hours from here, it's easy. Like I can go on a weekend. So at least I have a reason to go to hometown. So spend some time there and also do some site visits and then come back.
Is there a specific reason why you chose this part of Bangalore as part of your office?
Yeah, so one was I live in Nepal. So Bangalore traffic, So I was always looking somewhere which is closer, like not more than 20 minutes from house to work. More than that, then it's like always in traffic. So this is like 20 minutes for us, Bell Road. And also this is a nice, good area and a lot of. The main thing is you need a nice developed area also to start your practice and all of that. Right? This was the perfect place for us. Main thing when I was searching for a location was traffic in Bangalore. That was the main thing. So I opened map initially when I was looking for office. So there are like 3 roads here. It forms like a triangle almost. Bell Road, Sanjay Nagar and this 80 feet road. So I was like somewhere in between I need the office. So this is our third office actually. First we had a co-working kind of a place. Initially when I started also, I had a co-working place for like 2 months, 3 months or something. So that was also in Sanjay Nagar. Then Later, we moved to another office space. We were there for a year. That was on Bell Road. Now we are on 80 feet. We are moving around in the same circle. Later, if we have to change an office in future, also it'll be somewhere there.
Sir, can you explain a relationship with contractors and like material acquiring? Like, do you take care of material acquiring, or
Okay.
because a lot of architects also get a lot of income through commissions.
Yeah.
And so,
So when it comes to contracting, we don't do contracting. We are completely consultancy firm. So we build a good relationship with the contractors where we can trust them, and then we'll refer them to the clients. So clients are flexible either to go with our contractors or their own contractors if they know. So some clients will have like their family friend as a contractor, or some reference, or the client's father or his granddad would have been using the same contractor, or in local term also Mestri sometimes they tell. So they might be using the same person from a long time where they trust them a lot. So they want to go with them. They're more flexible with them. That also we are okay with. Some of them don't come. They don't know anyone. Then they come approaching us, where we have good contractors whom we have built good relationship with. So we refer them to the client.
so is it more lucrative if you suggest a contractor?
It's easier because the style, the language, what we work with. So the contractor already knows since he has already worked with this previously, and also to manage, we know the system of work, how they proceed, right? So if we are going with a completely new contractor, then we need to understand how their working style is, and then we have to adapt to that and all of that. So in this, it's more easier for us to coordinate and all of that. So main thing is coordination and all of that. And also, see, when it comes to commission, so we are very clear. We inform the clients in the beginning itself that we charge this much for you. So we don't do commission, or we don't take commission under the table. All that we don't get involved. But we are charging little premium for you. So you might go to market and find another architect who's charging half of our price also, or much lesser than them also. But how are they surviving or some? They might be taking commission from the contractor or whatever the vendors. So we make it clear in the beginning itself, saying if you want to go ahead with your contractor, we are more than happy. We'll do. So you don't have a doubt on us that we are taking commission and all of that. But if you want us to refer, we'll refer. But we won't. Whatever they're charging, whatever discount we can get from our architect side, we'll directly pass it on to you. That's what we clearly mentioned.
Sir, so since you're at a stage where your peers might have pursued higher education, how has that experience helped them, and how has your experience helped you?
So always wanted to start a firm here in India. So I didn't find a point doing masters and coming back. So same 2 years, instead of doing masters, I thought an experience here, working with someone and getting the experience, and then also the network contact building, that was more important for me than doing masters. So masters, one thing, if you want to do masters, it's if you're looking at working abroad for a while, staying there, settling there or something, then definitely you need masters. And also if you want to specialize in something, so then you need master. But if you specialize in a topic, then moving back to India and practicing that, it doesn't work. There's not a lot of value for that. So that's the main difference why I didn't personally do masters. But if you want to like settle abroad or anything, then also if you want to do a PhD and then get into the teaching, the education, the college, then you need masters. Otherwise, I didn't find a point personally for me to do this. Same that 2 years experience rather than doing masters elsewhere. Spend time in the market, learn about the the execution part of it. Like when you go deep inside, right? Architects, we are in office or college, sitting and drawing and all of that. There's a lot of other things which is actually happening on the side, and then you need to interact with the client. So each client is different. Each client is a challenge for you. So understanding that was the main thing. So 2 years over here, experiencing that was much valuable for me than being masters.
So then being in the practical field very early, did you think you missed out in college life? So what did you think you had should have been thought when you actually came to the practice? So anything?
So maybe in college, so maybe they could have given smaller task of designing something and get that executed somewhere. So that would have made our life much easier. Like when see there, it's more of they come up with ask you to come up with the concept, do master plan, whatever, etc. So you learn about design, the basics, and all of that. But when you walk into the professional life, it's completely different, right? That's what you learn when you work under someone, or once you start working on your own, then you start interacting with the clients and all of that. So in college, I think maybe like a smaller projects or some workshops or something where also there could be a subject where you go interact with some clients, learn about a few things, and also when you come to professional life, there's something called Vastu that you have to be aware of, so that you don't learn in college at all. So basics are, again, see, Vastu is not the important thing, but you need to understand how to counter or how to explain that to clients and all of that. All that is left on your own, that you have to learn by yourself once you move out of college. So a brief idea about all of this, if that given, see, everything has a scientific reason. Today, to make sure it's easier for people to understand the scientific reason, they tell you have to have that in this area, this in this area, this that will happen to your health, this will happen to your wealth, and all of that story they come up with. But the scientific reasons why what has to be and all of that, they could have explained better.
Then we stressed up on work-life balance. So, what would be your take on how exactly you should go on your say work and then maybe your free time and all that?
So our office, we work 9:30 to 6:30. And some days, see, we are again architects. We can't, 6:30 means it's not like a government office or something where you leave exactly at 6:30. Sometimes it might extend until 7:30. But we never have had to work above 8:30. So you need to plan your meetings, schedules, submissions, everything prior and work towards that. So if you have something, plan it before, and then you need to submit or plan your meeting before and finish your work by maximum 7:30. And then all the staff, of course, they'll have their own family time that they have to go back and spend some time, all of that, right? And also, since few of them are not from Bangalore, they're from outstation, they would want to go to their hometown and all of that. So that's why we have like Saturday, Sundays, second Saturday and fourth Saturdays holiday. So first and third is working. So they have that long weekend, the alternate weekend where they can go. And also the other interesting thing that we do in our offices, so we need to, as a team, we need to build that relationship, right? So me with the staff and all of them. So it can't be very formal and all of that. So we have in once in 6 months, I give them a competition, any competition, a small, a time problem kind of a thing or anything. Actually, now they're working on that. We have a presentation today. And so today what I've given them is a toilet design. That's all. So there's no restriction on the size or anything, but I've given a website where they have to use the materials from that website. It's indoor products and all of that they have to use. So they get to learn about the material. They get to explore on the toilet. It's completely hypothetical. So however crazy you want, you can go. It's like college, however crazy you want, you can go, right? It's not getting built anywhere. So I've given them the competition. So the main best thing is, so during the presentation, so it's not just like they'll come here, present and go. It's not that. So before they present, I'll buy them 3 beers, each one of them. So they have beer and then they have to present. That's the best thing about this presentation. And this happens once in 6 months. And they all love that. They all keep waiting for that. So this is the third time we are doing since we started the office. So that's the fun part, right? So you need that. It's not always about work. You need this. And also, once in a while, we have outing, like we go out. Like last week, we went for go-karting and laser tag and all of that. So that's where like you start interacting more freely than in office. Office, it's more like limited, restricted and all of that. So you need to build that relationship, right? So break the ice, what you say. So that's what we do, all of the small things. So when you join as a new intern or architect, you're always that little scared how to approach to feel free. You should always feel free. It's like a family here also. You need to have that kind of an atmosphere. Only then you'll feel like working and all of that. And you asked about business, right? And also business, it's not just about doing money. You need to build a team. Without a team, you can't do business. And to build a team, you need to give something. When you're taking something from them, you also have to give something back to them and make them feel comfortable. And you need to give good responsibility so that they also have something to stay here and work for longer rather than coming here for 1 year and then going somewhere else.
Then you also spoke about traveling. How do you think impacted your journey in architecture?
Quite a lot, actually. I love to travel. So I've gone on solo trips to Europe and all of that. So when after that college, I took a break, I told you, that time I went. And also my family loves to travel, my parents. So it's been from then that we have been traveling and all of that. When you're traveling, you see a lot of things like architecture and the lifestyle of different people. So you meet a lot of people, you interact with them, new people you meet, you interact. You might meet some architect elsewhere in some different country you won't even know. Then you'll start following their work or something. So it's always good to travel and learn. And also it's a time for you when you're in a busy work life, right? So just to go relax, rejuvenate, and come back to work. It always it's a good refreshing time as well for you.
So there is a notion that architects don't get paid enough.
Mm.
So do you think this is true? And if it is true, do you think this notion will ever change in the future?
See, compared to other fields like your IT or business or something, architects' payment is less. Not just in India, it's worldwide. Even if you compare the fee of an architect in US versus a person who is in IT or something, there's a drastic difference. Architects' fee is much lesser compared to another profession's fee. Unless you are like, there are few architects who are making crores or millions of things. So it's not everyone's luck to be in that shoe. It's difficult, but you can manage. I think again, working under someone for a longer time in a smaller firm like ours. So the payment scale is not that great. Also, the percentage in increment won't be that great compared to a larger firm. Maybe a larger firm, you might be earning quite a lot. But if you're having your own firm, then it's decent, good fee, money you can.
Can you tell us a bit about the timeline of a project, like starting from the design phase and all of that? Like, what would the timeline of a typical project?
An complete architecture and interiors, complete end to end would take at least around 2 years. So 18 months to 2 years, but again, it depends a lot on clients. Clients have to take a call. They have to finalize on because they are the final people who will be finalizing on everything, and payment has to be on time and all of that. Considering all of this, within 2 years is a good time to finish any project in India. With again considering the rains and climate and all of that, and a lot of festivals right here. So the laborers are not working for days together, weeks together. Sometimes Diwali comes, so Dasra comes. 2 weeks he is not here. So considering all that, yeah, around 2 years is a good time. And when it comes to interiors, it's much more fast paced, where it can be completed in 8 months, including design, execution, everything. Again, see, once you get onto the practical field, you learn more, because when I say interior of a house, you can finish in 8 months. an interior of an apartment. So when you're doing an apartment, there are time restrictions. Holidays you can't work, Sundays you can't work. So considering that, it might go to 10 months also. So that's how, like, once you start practicing, once you get that exposure, then you'll see the difference in all of this. Again, when you compare the architecture interiors, you had asked, right? What's the main difference in all of that? In interiors, the money that you're making in interior, again, the business money point of view, it's much faster and because it's a fast paced project, right? You finish interior one project in maybe 6-8 months. Architecture and interiors will take 2 years. So in that 2-3 years, you could have 2-3 projects you could have finished in that time frame. So when you're doing more of interiors, the money that flows is also more to run the business and all.
So there are a lot of firms who are doing just designing and not execution. What would you suggest to an architect just starting a firm? Should he take up execution or should he focus just on designing at the start? Because the time scales of a project, like you mentioned, are a lot faster than just designing.
Yeah. So we are also a consultancy firm. We just do designing. Again, supervision and all of that we do with third-party contractors as contractors. But the first project, at least when you're doing, it's always better for you to be involved in the execution as much as possible. So there are so many things that you'll be learning from the contractors, vendors, carpenters, civil, the local masons. There are so much you learn from them than what you would have actually learned in college. There's a lot to learn from them. So the more the time you are on site, the more you learn. So it's always better to be on site execution, to be involved in execution as much as possible in the beginning. And also going forward, I feel there's a lot of scope for turnkey projects. Now no one has time to come to a person for design and then go to another contract and then go to another point of contact. So now everyone is looking for one point of contact. So that one point of contact is the future, I feel. Like complete turnkey. You come up with a solution, you show them, and then you deliver. So that's a future, I think.
So you've done different types of buildings, like the residential, commercial, and so what do you say? How different is it to deal with people when it comes to different type of buildings?
So when it comes to residential, it's quite a lot of headache because there is wife, there is husband, there is child, there is grandma. All of them will come. All of them will have one idea. So I want my room like that. I want my room like this. So sometimes it gets a little tricky to work on the residential projects, and commercial projects, see, you are just one point of contact, like the main person who is doing it. So it's much easier and faster to take decisions in that. So here you have to convince everyone. So that's the tricky part of a residential project.
How do you measure success in your career? Like, what stage should the
Once I reach there, I will tell you.
what were the difficulties you faced from clients being a young architect? They don't judge you from the way you look.
Yeah, that I told you that time. So, so one is couple of clients, like, see, some through reference when they come, they would have heard about us, so they'll know the work, what we do and all of that, right? So in that cases, there's not much of difficulty that we face. But when we come across a new client, so that time when they look at us, look at me, they'll be like, what can this child do? Can he do? For the sake of meeting, they'll discuss something, and there are few of them who have never come back also. Even that has happened. But yeah, again, see, sometimes what you have to do is you have to show the work. So you take them to the clinic, then the way you talk, the way you present, then it all depends on, they may start measuring you on how you talk and how you interact also. That also has a lot of weightage. And then you take them to a site, you then show them the work. And little you'll have to talk about the practical side also, how it works and all of that. Then they can start trusting you. The main thing is they have to trust you, and then it's your game. You can do whatever you want, right? Like unless they trust, you can't be in the game.
So architecture is a very demanding industry. So if you could change maybe one thing about the profession, what would you like to change?
Architecture, isn't? Maybe the fee scale. See, one is that, and yeah, one main thing would be, anyone can become an architect, as in a contractor is an architect today. And today, people sometimes in our field, they'll start calling you engineer. With engineer site ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೆ. There are things like that you would have heard. Like it's a common thing. That's because they're not valuing our profession. So that's most of them think the contractors and all think we come make some place look fancy, pretty, and then go. They actually don't know the value we are bringing into the project. Say your light, ventilation, into the house or the aesthetics, which plays a massive role. You might spend around 10 to 15 hours a day in your house, right? For example, if I'm considering a house or a workspace, wherever you're working, you need the workspace to have a good light and ventilation. One. And also it needs to be appealing. So people need to understand that why architects are required and all of that. So today, the one thing which I would want to be changed is COA or something comes up with the rule saying that only architects, approved architects or COA licensed architect can only design buildings, not leave any contractor, any engineer to do some sketch draft, money cut pudi, some contractor. That's what many of them do. So if you see all those, there'll be a nice apartment next to that, like small houses, right? So they'll all be building 3-4 floors, and in that 2-3 floors will be illegal construction. You would have seen 2 weeks, 3 weeks earlier also one building fell off Reno Road when there was heavy rains and all of that. Why is that happening? Because I 100% sure not an architect is involved in that. If it was just a contractor, the client has gone, cut podi, construct something, he's just done something. So the steel, what he's put, no one has gone check. Contractor is doing whatever he wants. He's saving money. He's putting inside his pocket. So that has to be stopped. So every project should involve an architect. So you have an architect, you have a contractor. So both are responsible for it, and he goes checking for it and all of it. So that should be there.
Do you have a dream project that you aspire to work on someday?
Every project that comes our way is kind of a dream project, because eventually it's a dream for the client, right? So we need to make it come to life, whatever dream there. So when they start dreaming, even you have to start dreaming about that project. So it's almost all the projects is like a dream project for us. Even it could be a very small, tiny project to a huge, massive project, whatever we get, it needs to be kind of a dream project. Only then you'll get that 120% whatever you have aimed for.
So there is a dilemma in the field right now as to architects as developers.
Hmm.
How do you see this?
I think, architects being also becoming a developer soon, right? See, it's also good, I feel. Like, you see this total environment. So they were an architect, the husband, wife, I think, or the firm, they were architects before. So now they design their own buildings and they're also developers. It's good. See, again, when you asked about money, right? If you do that, it's a good income, good business for you. And also, you're delivering a good design to your clients and all of that. So you have more designs and the sensibilities about design. So you deliver better, and it's also good, I feel. See, you need not stick to just architecture as a field. You can also look at architects being something else, getting into construction, getting into turnkey. So it's always good. See, again, in that you can't alone do everything. For that, you need to build a team. You will be the principal. You need to build a team with your civil engineers, architects, all of them you need to have. So like that, there's this firm called Bhumiputra, have you heard about? So they have a very good, these things, the office atmosphere. They have almost MEP consultants in house. They have civil engineers. They have everyone in-house almost, so you don't have to go looking out elsewhere.
Are you planning on starting the same? Are you planning on getting everybody involved so you can do the
Yeah, probably it's a long way, but planning on something like that. But the future demands that, right? Because no one wants to go looking for one MEP. The client, you being a client, you want to go for one-stop solution and one point of contact. You don't want to go to another MEP. You don't have to pay there. You don't want to go to civil structural engineer, all separate.
Full solution.
So full solution. Everyone is looking for that now.
We have a rapid fire round for you.
Oh.
Make 20 seconds. So, a book or a movie that has influenced your thinking?
Book or movie? Narcos. Series, but not a movie.
What city or place do you find the most inspiring?
Croatia. If it's a country, then city Dubrovnik.
One architect, living or historical, you'd love to have dinner with?
Living.
Or historical?
Jeffrey Bawa.
Tell us both.
Living also. Indian would be Hiren Patel. Indian architect.
A trend in architecture you hope will disappear.
Sorry?
A trend in architecture that you hope will disappear.
Hope will disappear.
Yeah.
The gaudy, jazzy kind of houses, interior.
A famous building that you internally criticize.
No idea.
Your favorite thing to do after a long day at work.
Just go back home, watch TV, relax, sleep and relax, lie down.
One thing architectural institutions really missed out on.
Exposure to the practical field.
And last one, a building you wish you would have had the chance to design.
Anywhere?
Anyway,
Tricky question. Falling waters.
So thank you very much for giving us your time. Your insights into design were very wonderful, and I'm sure all of us will take it with us in our journey. And we wish you all the success in the future.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.